In 2022, there's so many free plugins available, but what we all want to know is which ones are the very best. Which ones are going to help us make great music and get great mixes and masters? Let's find out. Today we're going to talk about what I believe to be the very best free plugins available. Now, a couple of notes. Number one, this is not a sponsored video. This is just my opinion of having worked in audio for over 20 years, doing producing, mixing, and mastering, and the ones that I've found most useful in the work that I've done. Number two is I'm a Pro Tools user, so if there's free plugins that are not in the Pro Tools format, I can't consider those. So I've broken up this plugin list into 6 different categories, and the categories are instruments, EQ, compression, saturation, effects, and limiters. So let's dive in. Now, the first plugin I want to talk to you about today is the Spitfire Audio Labs. Now, inside of the Spitfire Audio Labs library, there's so many different instruments that you can download, and there's so many great things inside of there. The one I have pulled up right now is the soft piano, and that's probably my favorite. It's this beautiful felted piano sound that just sounds so amazing, especially for cinematic type piano sounds. Gives you that instant cinema feel. There's so much inside of the labs. We could have one video just talking about just what's inside of labs. So Spitfire Audio Labs, really amazing free instrument, and there's so much just inside of this one instrument. Great stuff by Spitfire Audio. Next on the instruments list is Steven Slate's SSD5. Now this gives you one free drum kit, and it's the full kit with all the pieces that you see here, and it's a great sounding drum kit. It's absolutely free, and I've found it useful. I've used it on a few different projects. Next we have Analog Lab Lite by Arturia. This is an awesome free VI which has tons of different vintage synth sounds, but it also has pianos and organs, and I've actually used this quite a bit. There's a lot that you get, 500 presets, absolutely free, and this one's a no-brainer. Such an awesome free synth plugin by Arturia. Last on the instruments list is another instrument by Spitfire Audio, and this is the BBC Symphony Orchestra, and this is their Lite version. There's paid versions of this, but this is their free version, and this is amazing, especially if you're just starting out in orchestral music. This gives you everything inside of the orchestra. You got violins, 1, 2, violas, and cello, but you also have, over here in the red, you have trumpets, trombones, tenor trombone, bass trombone, tuba. You got the French horns over here, and this actually shows you how a orchestra is laid out. You have everything here, percussions. In this blue section, you have all your woodwinds, the piccolo, flutes, oboes. So this is an amazing free plugin. It's limited in its round robins. It's limited in a few different ways, but for free, you can't really complain. It's an amazing free orchestra from Spitfire Audio. Moving on to EQs, the first plugin I want to talk to you about is Acustica Audio's Eminence. Now this is a recent plugin that just came out, and this is an awesome free EQ. The EQ section is a little limited, but it has an amazing silky sound. I love the sound of this EQ. Definitely has some great analog mojo. You have a preamp section here, which you can dial these in, and it gives you different harmonic saturation from those preamps. You also have this spread knob, which is fun to play with. You can do some really great things with stereo sources. And it also has this built-in compressor, which is also great. I actually used this compressor in a recent project and really liked what it did to a snare drum that I ran it through. So this is a great free EQ and compressor. Great stuff by Acustica Audio. Next on the list is the BOZ Bark of Dog. Now this is a great EQ plugin, very simple controls, and I love plugins like this that are just really simple and give you great results really quickly. So it actually has, if you look here on the top, it has classic, passive, and combo. And if you click on the passive, it's actually an emulation of a Pultec. And so you can do the low-end Pultec trick with just setting it here to passive. And then also in Classic, it's a different EQ curve. And then if you go to Combo, it's a blend of both the Pultec Trick and also the Classic EQ curve. And so that gives you something completely unique. And again, this is a really great EQ sound, but especially for low-end material. I love how it sounds on a kick drum and snare drum. And it also can be great on bass. Last one on the EQ list is Slate Digital's Revival. Now this technically could be considered like a saturator, but it definitely is adding some tone and changing the tone. So it's doing some EQ type things when you use it. This sounds great on mix bus. Obviously it's a really simple plugin. You just got the shimmer and thickness, but this can sound great on mix bus. Sometimes I put it on mix bus and I start maybe right about here and just see what that does and then go up or down from there. But it does have a nice sound. It can add brightness to your mix without getting brittle and thickness to your mix without adding mud. So this is an awesome free plugin by Slate Digital. First in the compressor category is XFER's OTT. Now, in my opinion, this is the best free plugin that has ever been made by anybody. Now, obviously, that's my opinion, but it's such a great plugin. If you don't know the history of this plugin, it started out as a free plugin, the OTT plugin, inside of Ableton Live, but it became such a popular plugin that they created a standalone version. And this is the standalone version. And this is an upwards and downwards compressor. It's loved by EDM producers for what it can do. It can excite your source like pretty much nothing else. My favorite use for it is actually on the mix bus. And if you look here, this depth knob is actually your mix knob. And so I love to throw this on a mix and start at about 8%. On light settings, this can do just amazing things in your mix. What I find it doing a lot of times in the mix is tightening up the lows and giving just a little bit of shine on the top, and it just can really sound great. Great plugin and absolutely free. Next in the compression category is another free plugin by Slate Digital. This is called the Monster, and it's modeled after the all buttons in mode of the 1176, which gives you like extreme pumping and extreme compression and kind of a crunchy compression sound. This can sound just amazing on mix bus, but also pretty much any parallel source. If you want to use it on parallel vocals, it can really add excitement to your vocals. Really great plugin and very useful. I use it a lot actually. Next on the compressor list is the MJUC Junior, and for some reason it is not wanting to load in Pro Tools for me today, so I just pulled it up on their website. This is based on a variable moo compressor. It definitely gives you a little bit of tube mojo, and it's a softer compression, but it sounds really great. Great free plugin by Klanghelm. Next on the compressor list is another plugin by Klanghelm, and this is a more aggressive sounding compressor, and especially with these settings down here, there's a lot that you can do. Negative mode I found sounds really great on drums, but this is just a really simply laid out plugin. I love plugins like this. Input, output, gain reduction. You got a few options on the bottom. It sounds great, and it definitely deserves to be on this list. Moving on to the saturation category. Now, the first one in our saturation list is Softtube's saturation knob. This is a great sounding saturation. I've used this a bunch over the years, and it still sounds great to me. And it can do anything from subtle saturation all the way to full-out distortion. Great plugin and really easy to use. Next up in the saturation category is Plugins Burier. Now, Plugins is a newer plugin company, and this is a plugin that they've released for absolutely free. This is an awesome sounding plugin, different flavor than the Softtube one knob, and that's what I think is awesome about having different plugins is that it can give you different flavors, and so this is just a different flavor. It can sound really great on a variety of sources. I would try it on kick drum, bass guitar, electric guitar, vocals, pretty much any of those sources you could find uses for it. Really great sounding plugin. I love that it has low cut and high cut, and it also has a mix knob, so you can really do a lot with this plugin. Moving into the effects category. Now, inside the effects category, I'm going to have reverbs, delays, and anything that can create a special effect. And this is a relatively new plugin by Baby Audio called Magic Dice. Now there's really nothing that you can do in this plugin except for click on the dice, which will change the effect, and change the mix knob. So sometimes less is more, and actually being limited can be a really good thing. So this is going to give you somewhere between reverb and delay and special effects. And every time you click the button, it'll give you a completely different effect. I think it just randomizes the settings every time. And so it's kind of a fun plugin to play with. And I actually just used it on a recent session where I was just looking for a special effect and I didn't really even know what I wanted. So I threw this on there and it actually really ended up doing the trick for what I needed. Great plugin by Baby Audio. Next up in the effects category is Baby Audio's Baby Come Back. This is a delay plugin, and the nice thing about this is really 4 different unique flavors that you can get between the wide, analog, saucy, and cheap. And so this is a great sounding delay, and it's really kind of like 4 different flavors in one. Next up is Baby Audio's Magic Switch. Now this is actually an 80s inspired chorus plugin, and it has a really great sound to it. Again, really simple controls, on and off, and here's your mix right here. So super simple, but it has a really great sound. Obviously one sound only, but it has a really great sound. Baby Audio just killing it in the effects department. Next on the list is the Valhalla Freq Echo. I love this plugin. Anytime I'm looking for delay, I'm usually reaching for this plugin first. It's just super easy to use. Instantly, it can give you just a really great sound. And the kicker with this plugin is this shift button here in the middle. This shifts the frequency of the delayed sound, and it sounds so amazing, even at just light settings, maybe just 1 or 2. But if you want to get some really interesting effects, you can really go more extreme with this shift setting, either down or up. But this is a great sounding delay plugin. I use it all the time, and it's one of my favorites. Next in the effects category, we have Valhalla Supermassive. Now this is a combination of reverb, delay, and modulation effects like chorus and flanger. So this really is a unique effect. It's not going to give you traditional sounding delay and reverb. It does really more unique, kind of out there wild effects. And it sounds fun. It's a really fun to play with and very, very useful, especially depending on the sources that you're using it on. Great free plugin by Valhalla. The last plugin on the list today is a plugin by Frontier. This is the Self-Adaptive Limiter. So this is a final stage limiter. This is probably the last plugin you would have in your mix chain or in your mastering chain to get your level up to the place that you want to get it to. I love that it has the soft clip function. I did use this recently on a session and it worked really well. So there you have it. In my opinion, these are the very best free plugins that we have available to us in 2022. If there's plugins that you think I missed, let me know about it in the comments and maybe they'll end up in a future video of mine. If you got value out of this video today, would you like this video and also subscribe to this channel, turn on that bell for notifications so that you'll know when my new videos come out. Also, I recently created a song using only free plugins and I used a lot of the ones that I talk about today, and you can see that video right here. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.